What if the reason money has not moved toward you is not because you asked for too much, but because you asked from the wrong energy? Think about that. Every day, people whisper their dreams into the dark, stare at their phones, check their accounts, and wonder why nothing changes. But what if the shift happens the moment you stop pleading and start deciding? What if the moment your mind stops saying, maybe, someday, hopefully, the whole signal changes? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you may hear one idea that changes the way you think about money, power, and your own voice forever. And by the end, you will not just hear a message, you will feel it. You will know exactly how to speak to your future in a way that feels stronger, cleaner, calmer, and impossible to ignore. So before your mind drifts, lean in, because this is not about wishing anymore. This is about becoming the kind of person who says one thing and feels it so deeply that life has no choice but to start rearranging around it. Most people think manifestation fails because they do not work hard enough, visualize long enough, or repeat enough affirmations. That sounds good. It sounds spiritual. It sounds comforting. But it misses the real issue. The problem is not always the method. The problem is the energy under the method. Two people can say the exact same sentence, yet one sees doors open while the other sees delay, confusion, and more stress. Why? Because one is speaking with inner certainty and the other is speaking with quiet fear. One says the words while still feeling lack. The other says the words from a settled place, as if the result has already been approved in the unseen and is simply moving into form. That difference changes everything. When you say, I want money, you may think you are asking for abundance, but many times you are actually announcing absence. You are confirming that it is not here. You are pointing at the gap, and life often mirrors that gap right back. But when your inner state changes, your whole message changes. Your body changes. Your face softens. Your breath gets deeper. Your thoughts stop running in circles. And suddenly you are no longer chasing a future. You are standing in a different relationship with it. If this feels different from the advice you usually hear, keep listening, because the shift is about to get even more practical and much more powerful. There is a phrase that carries weight far beyond its size: three short words, simple words, ordinary words. But when spoken with real conviction, they stop the panic of wanting and replace it with the calm of completion. Those words are, it is done. Say them slowly. It is done. Notice what happens when you do not say them like a hope, but like a decision. Something settles, the noise drops, the frantic part of the mind loosens its grip, and for a moment you touch a state many people spend years trying to reach. These words matter because they move you out of the future tense. They take you out of waiting. They place you in the energy of completion. Not I wish, not I hope, not maybe soon. Completion, finality, inner approval. When you say it is done with honesty, you are not trying to trick the world. You are training yourself to stop feeding uncertainty. You are stepping into the version of reality where the result is no longer missing, only unfolding. That is why these words can feel so powerful. They do not beg, they declare. And life responds very differently to declaration than it does to desperation. Stay with me here, because this is where many people leave too early. They hear the phrase, like the phrase, maybe even repeat the phrase, but they never let it become a full body truth. And without that, the words stay flat. The real power is not in the sound, it is in the state behind the sound. Now let's go deeper, because money is rarely just about money. When people talk about wanting a huge amount, what they often want is what they believe that amount will give them: relief, freedom, space to breathe. The end of that constant pressure in the chest, the ability to help family without fear, the power to make decisions without checking the account first, the chance to sleep deeply, the chance to stop shrinking. That is why a number feels powerful, not because of the math, but because of the meaning attached to it. And this is where many people get stuck. They focus too hard on the number and not enough on the feeling behind it. But life responds strongly to emotional meaning. If the number feels fake, distant, or forced, resistance rises. If the feeling feels real, the signal becomes stronger. So instead of staring only at the amount, connect with what that amount represents in your life. Imagine the stillness in your body if the pressure lifted. Imagine the quiet confidence of knowing you have room to move. Imagine generosity without fear. Imagine buying what you need without guilt. Imagine making choices from peace, not survival. That emotional connection matters because your inner world follows feeling faster than logic. Your mind may debate the amount, but your nervous system understands safety, ease, and freedom immediately. And when your thoughts, emotions, and body begin telling the same story, you stop sending mixed messages. That is when your presence becomes magnetic. That is when your actions become cleaner. That is when opportunities start looking different because you are looking from a different state. Here is where most people accidentally cancel their own progress. They say the words. They feel a brief lift. They almost touch certainty. Then, 5 minutes later, they check for proof, see nothing dramatic, and fall right back into doubt. They dig up the seed they just planted. They interrupt the signal they just built. They go from "it is done" to "why is nothing happening?" And that shift matters deeply because the inner message changes again from completion to lack. Imagine ordering something important, then calling every 2 minutes to ask if it is still coming, then changing the order because panic took over. That is how many people move through this process. They make a clear inner decision, then weaken it with constant fear and overchecking. Real power is quieter than that. It is cleaner. Once the command is made, your next task is not obsession, it is steadiness. You do not need to force the path, you need to hold the state. That does not mean doing nothing. It means not poisoning your own momentum with panic. It means choosing calm over control. It means understanding that results often move through stages, signals, meetings, ideas, nudges, timing, and unseen rearrangements before they become obvious. This is why patience is not passive. It is powerful. It protects the new state while reality catches up. And if you have ever felt strong in one moment and doubtful in the next, that does not mean you failed. It means you are learning to stabilize a new identity. That is a real process. Stay with it. Because the difference between people who break through and people who stay stuck is often not desire. It is consistency of inner signal. A simple way to live this out is through 3 moves you can repeat daily: command, align, and allow. First, command. Speak your desired reality as completed, not pending. Use language that carries certainty. Instead of, "I hope money comes," try, "My life is opening to greater wealth now." Or simply, "It is done." Keep it strong. Keep it clean. Second, align. Ask yourself, if the shift were already in motion, how would I move today? How would I breathe? How would I speak? What energy would I bring into conversations? How would I treat my space, my work, my time, my decisions? Alignment is not pretending to be rich. It is practicing the emotional and physical posture of sufficiency instead of rehearsing scarcity every hour. Third, allow. This is where you release the need to know every detail of how things will happen. Many people can command, some can align, few truly allow. Why? Because allowing requires trust, and trust feels uncomfortable when your old identity was built on control, stress, and overthinking. But allowing is not weakness, it is removing the brake. It is stopping the inner arguments that say, who am I to receive this? What if it never happens? What will people think? Or, this is too much for me. When those thoughts rise, do not panic. Notice them. Thank them for trying to keep you safe. Then choose again. Return to the state. Return to the command. Return to the feeling of completion. This is how you retrain yourself, not once, repeatedly, quietly, powerfully. One of the strongest ways to make this real is through imagery that feels alive instead of forced. Close your eyes and see the scene, not vaguely, clearly. See the message arrive, see the account change, see the email, the contract, the transfer, the opportunity, the exact moment your body realizes something has shifted. Notice the room, the light, the sound around you, the way your hand feels when you pick up your phone, the way your chest softens, the way your shoulders drop. Then move beyond the image into the emotion. Feel the relief first, not wild excitement. Relief, deep calm, quiet gratitude, the sense that something heavy has finally lifted. That is a powerful state because it is believable to the body. Then whisper the words again. It is done. Let them land from that state, not from effort. This matters because your mind learns through repetition, but your deeper system learns through experience. When you create a vivid inner experience often enough, it starts feeling less like fantasy and more like memory, and that changes how you walk through your day. You begin to notice possibilities you used to ignore. You hear ideas with new ears. You answer messages differently. You show up differently in rooms. You make choices from a wider place. That is why this is not just about positive thinking. It is about internal rehearsal shaping external behavior. And once behavior changes, results often follow through pathways that seemed invisible before. If you are still listening, this is where it gets exciting because the smallest daily practices can start changing your whole atmosphere faster than dramatic one time rituals ever do. Start in the morning before the world gets loud. In that soft moment between sleep and full alertness, before the phone, before the pressure, before the old story restarts, speak the phrase with calm authority. It is done. Not 10 frantic times, not as a chant soaked in fear, just a few grounded repetitions. Let your first signal of the day be completion, not worry. Then carry that tone into one small action that matches the state you are claiming. Clean your workspace. Answer an email you have been avoiding. Review your finances without fear. Make one wise move. Dress with care. Walk with your head up. Pay something with gratitude instead of resentment. Remove clutter from a drawer, a desk, a room, a thought. These small actions matter because they tell your mind that the shift is not just verbal, it is embodied, it is active, it is entering your physical world. At night, do the opposite of what stress usually teaches. Instead of ending the day with fear, finish with gratitude in advance. Speak thanks for what is already moving. Thank life for the opening, the support, the change, the unseen arrangements, the wisdom, the timing. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let present appearances define your deeper expectation. That nightly gratitude softens resistance and trains the mind to look for evidence of progress instead of evidence of lack. Over time, this changes the emotional climate inside you. And once that climate changes, your decisions, conversations, and responses start changing too. That is often where the visible results begin, not in a lightning strike, but in a powerful sequence of aligned shifts that gather speed. You also need to understand something that frees many people instantly. Abundance does not always arrive as a dramatic miracle. Sometimes it arrives as an idea that will not leave you alone. A call from someone unexpected, a chance meeting, a bold thought, a business move, a sudden insight about what to stop doing, a door you almost ignored. a pattern you suddenly see clearly, a skill you decide to use, a risk that finally feels right. These are not small things. These are often the early signs that your inner state is producing outer pathways. But if you are addicted to one exact form, you may miss them. You may say, that is not it, when in fact, it is the first piece of it. So pay attention to what begins showing up after you make a stronger inner decision. Watch for new ideas with unusual clarity. Watch for repeated themes. Watch for contacts, invitations, nudges, and moments that feel quietly charged. Then act when the action feels clean, not frantic, clean. There is a big difference between forced action and aligned action. Forced action comes from fear and says, I must do something now or I will lose everything. Aligned action feels more focused, more direct. It says, this is the next move. Learn that difference. It will save you from burnout. It will help you stop confusing panic with progress. And if you have ever felt a nudge and ignored it, only to realize later it mattered, then you already understand this more than you think. Keep listening. Because the next shift may be the one that changes the entire pattern. Another hidden block is the belief that receiving more means taking from someone else. Many people carry this silently. They want more, but they also fear being judged, becoming selfish, or somehow depriving others. That inner conflict weakens the signal. Part of you wants expansion, another part pulls back. But abundance does not work well inside guilt. Growth is not theft. Prosperity is not betrayal. The more stable, resourced, and clear you become, the more help you can offer, the more peace you can spread, the more wisely you can build. Your expansion can bless other people. Your financial strength can create options, opportunities, support, and generosity that were impossible when you were in survival mode. So stop treating your desire for a bigger life as something shameful. Clean desire is not greed, it is vision, it is responsibility, it is readiness. And when you stop apologizing for wanting relief, freedom, beauty, security, and overflow, your energy becomes less divided, stronger, clearer, more direct. This matters because divided people often delay their own breakthroughs. They command with their mouth and cancel with their guilt. They declare with one hand and pull back with the other. End that split. Let yourself want more without shrinking. Let yourself imagine more without explaining it away. Let yourself become someone who can hold greater good without fear. Because once your system accepts that more is safe, your presence changes fast. Your posture changes. Your voice changes. Even your choices become more mature. And that maturity is attractive to real opportunity. There is also a surprising element that speeds everything up: joy, not fake hype, not forced smiles, real lightness, real release, real moments where you stop acting like your future is a courtroom verdict and start acting like life can move in your favor. Joy matters because it interrupts the heavy signal of strain. It opens the body. It loosens fear. It tells your system, I am safe enough to relax. And relaxed people often see what tense people miss. They hear the right idea. They meet the right person. They choose better timing. They stop making fear-based mistakes. Try this. For one day, stop carrying your desire like a burden. Treat it like something already turning in your favor. Smile more. Walk slower. Breathe deeper. Let your face soften. Let your body stop bracing. Let there be some humor in the fact that you spent so long doubting what may have been trying to reach you all along. Joy does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop strangling the process. And that shift can be dramatic because desperate energy repels. Calm confidence attracts. This is why some people seem lucky. They are not always luckier. They are often less resistant. They are less tangled. They are more available to what is already trying to find them. So if you have made your dream feel heavy, intense, and painfully far away, this is your reminder to lighten your grip, keep the vision, keep the decision, lose the panic. That combination is far more magnetic than strain ever was. Write this down by hand tonight. It is done. It is done. It is done. Then keep writing as if the change is already underway. Describe your life from that state. Write how mornings feel. Write how your body feels. Write how your choices feel. Write what is no longer stressing you. Write what has become possible. Write who benefits. Write how you show up now, that pressure is not running your thoughts all day. Do not write like you are fantasizing about a future rescue. Write like you are documenting a shift already happening. Handwriting matters because it slows you down enough to feel what you are saying. It turns vague desire into embodied language, and embodied language reaches deeper than scattered thoughts. As you write, use simple, clear sentences. Make it real, make it sensory, make it human. This is not about creating a perfect script. It is about creating a believable inner world. The more believable it becomes, the more your choices start matching it. And that is the bridge between imagination and evidence. If resistance shows up, good. That means you found the edge of your current identity. Meet that edge calmly. Do not run. Do not quit. Breathe and keep writing. Then end with the same three words. It is done. Let those words become familiar to your nervous system. Let them become a place you can return to when fear rises, when doubt gets loud, when old patterns try to reclaim you. Because in the end, this is not just a phrase, it is a posture, a frequency, a decision about who you are going to be from this point forward. And here is the deeper truth beneath all of it. You are not trying to convince life to notice you. You are learning to stop broadcasting contradiction. You are learning to stop calling for expansion while rehearsing fear every hour. You are learning to live from inner completion instead of outer delay. That shift can happen faster than you think, not because magic replaces action, but because identity changes action at the root. The moment you stop seeing yourself as someone begging for a breakthrough and begin seeing yourself as someone ready to hold one, your choices begin to reorganize. Your standards rise, your focus sharpens, your tolerance for chaos drops, your intuition gets louder, your value becomes clearer, and from there things can move quickly, very quickly. So the next time fear says, "What if nothing changes?" answer from a different place. Say, "It is done." When doubt says, "Who are you to expect more?" answer, "It is done." When old patterns invite you back into stress, scarcity, and waiting, answer again, "It is done." Not as empty words, as a settled decision, as an inner line you no longer cross backward. And if this message hits something deep in you, do not just admire it for a moment and move on. Use it, speak it, write it, breathe it, walk in it today. Because the life you keep asking for may begin the moment you stop asking like a stranger and start declaring like someone who finally remembers their own power. It is done.